Welcome back to the sim. So in this one, we're going to do an RNAV departure, an RNAV transition to the RNAV approach. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip a star for this one just to try to keep this quick. And we will use VNAV to show how VNAV with 0.7.1 is fully functional. Let's go ahead, jump in. So first thing, we've got our flight plan set up in Navigraph just so that we can go through it. Basically, we're on the ground in Ottawa. We're going to take off of runway 32 using the Ottawa 4 departure. What is the Ottawa 4 departure? We climb and maintain 3,000, climbing runway heading 320, or if assigned another vector. Generally speaking, you get off the ground. When airborne, you switch over to departures, but in Ottawa, even though we use different frequencies, it's the same controller. They do departures, terminal, and arrivals. They also cover Quebec, but that's a separate story. So what's going to happen is we're going to take off, and basically once airborne, contact departures in the air, and you would pretty quickly be given a heading to fly, or a lot of times they're going to give you your waypoint and tell you, when able, direct. In this case, we're going to use Visel, but direct Lorca or wherever it is if you're headed to the west. That's your departure procedure. It's pretty straightforward. And what's great about this is this does not link you to a transition. So this requires us to manually sequence out of this. So that's why I wanted to show this. So then what we're going to do is we're going to get to Visel somehow. So that's what the dotted pink line is. We're going there, but our departure actually is to fly runway heading and to somehow get vectored or sent there. We're going to use Visel as our waypoint, climb up to 4,000 feet, and then what we're going to do is we're going to link up with the RNAV Zulu into runway 32. And we're going to do that from VOLAG. So that way we're coming around. So you can be on your way to Visel, and then they'll just send you direct to VOLAG. So we're going to show how you don't really necessarily always get to a full sequencing of going Visel, right to Visel, then Visel to VOLAG. Instead, what's going to happen is we're going to simulate that as we were on our way and everything is set, ATC would be clearing us to our approach and sending us direct VOLAG. We'll show why activating the approach will instantly set a direct to versus activating the leg, which would plot the leg still from Visel to VOLAG, and then we'd have to intercept ourselves. So it's a magical little button when you activate. Let's go ahead and bring up our flight plan. We click, oh yeah, I should do this in the sim. Click on the cursor, right? We're going to go down one line. We're going to start the little knob by one. We're going to click in here and hit enter to accept. Sure. Roll down to 32. So we've got that. We can go ahead and get our departure procedure going. It is the Ottawa 4 departure off of runway 32. And you can see we're going to get that manual sequence leg showing up. Awesome. We're going to load that in. So we'll end up with a manual sequence leg because we'll be flying runway heading until we simulate getting ATC directing us on course or giving us a heading to fly and then directing us on course to Visel. So they may say, turn left heading 270, and then once you've started that left turn and now you've cleared the runway path so they can get other departures out, then they might at a couple minutes later say, okay, now direct Visel on course. So we've got that. So we next need to bring ourselves, don't forget, got to click on here to get our cursor active. Let's go to en route. And we move this knob. And then we click here. CYOW. And then press enter. You can go ahead and you can turn that knob and we can add 32. That's where we're going to go. That is our destination. And of course, we can go to procedures and go ahead and load our planned approach. Yes, this could change in the air and we could always change it, but we're planning it, so I might as well load it. So we're going to do the RNAV 32 Zulu from VOLAG. And again, we're loading it so that it doesn't take us direct to VOLAG. So now that we're at the PFD, one of the things I like to do is, of course, sync the heading bug. So press the button here. Boom. So now we know that our departure procedure is the item that we have to review. So we need to fly runway heading 320. So for 32, climb heading 320 or as assigned. And for non-jet aircraft, maintain 3000. We've got our heading bug, and we know, though, that we need it to be 320. So hard with the mouse. 320 that we are going to fly. Then what we want to do is I'm going to enable heading mode because we have to fly the heading. Then what we want to do is we want to set up our altitude of 3000. We got our altitude of 3000 set up. Of course, we're going to hit the toga button, and that's going to raise our pitch. And as we get up, we will simulate the left-hand turn to 270 and climb 4000. And toga. Oh, man, it's so jumpy on the rudders. Okay, so there we go. We are climbing. Go ahead, get the gear up. Tap the brakes. And flaps can go up. So as you can see, it's going to sequence to that manual sequence, direct track of 320 now, but we were already dialed in. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to climb with 120. Flight level change. We'll go ahead, pitch up, and we'll get the autopilot on. You see that little bonk, but whatever. Okay, so now we're climbing. We're going to climb up to 3000. We will have contacted departures at this point, probably about 500 feet ago. Literally, it's when airborne. And so at this point, we're going to assume that they will have given us our left-hand turn to 270. And you can see we're still in that manual sequence section. So you can see that the suspend key is active. So we're now into a climb. We've also been told go up to 4000. So since we're still in the climb, we'll dial in 4000 and we'll continue up with our flight level change mode. Now at this point, okay, left-hand turn, direct visal on course. So now we can unsuspend, and now we need to get to visal. So now it's gone and it is activated that leg to visal to VOLAG. But we actually need to go direct to visal. So let's go flight plan. Let's go visal. Let's go direct to and hit enter, enter. So there it goes. Now I'm going to intentionally let the heading get away from us. So that we'll get, we're not on an intercept course, we get the GPS in white. So our nav mode is armed. We will now plot our intercept course by turning into it. And there you go. We've come within our 2 dots, and it now activates the nav mode and moves it from armed to activated, and it's now going to turn and plot the smooth intercept. All right, let's get our speed back up. So at this point, we are being given our instructions we're cleared to our approach, RNAV 32 Zulu, commencing from VOLAG. So in that case, we can come to our procedure and we can activate our approach. And at this point, it will plot from where we are a direct to VOLAG. Instead of us activating the leg, in which case that would have also activated the approach, but then we would have had to still go and intercept that straight line. So this is the same thing as activating the leg, but then also doing a direct to VOLAG. So now that we're on our way, we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up for the VNAV Descent. So 2,000 feet at the FAF of Vodal. So what we're going to do is we're going to dial down our altitude selector to 2,000. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to arm the VNAV mode. And so now we have VPath armed in white. And we're now direct to VOLAG. And at this point, we'd also brief our approach plate. Now, you would have probably done it sooner, like en route, but whatever. We'll quickly take a look at our plate. 135.15, this is arrivals frequency. Tower is on 118.8. Ground will be on 21.9. Our final course is 320. Glide path altitude at Vodal should be 2,000 feet. This is an LPV, and you've got your runway elevations. Misapproach, climb 3,000, track 320 to RAFNO, which is effectively the VOR, the YOW VOR. And your MSA for runway 32 is 3,000 feet. So you can see your 3,000 feet of safety. Now on our Canadian plates, we usually have our 4 quadrants as well. So you've got your glide path, and you can see that at Texan, you actually could pick the glide path up at 3,700 feet. And it does a recommend of 3,000. So really, usually when you fly this approach, you just hold at 3,000, pick up the glide path, and go down. But we're going to see how it calculates VNAV all the way to the FAF, because we can. So yeah, so then of course 3 degrees speed, 120, that's 637, so that's your ground speed. 637 feet per minute would be your descent rate. Your PAPIs, fly straight ahead 3,000 feet, 320 inbound to RAFNO. And our decision height altitude is 567 feet. So we'll go ahead and put in 570 to throw in our minimums. So let's go ahead. So it's Barrow, which means 567 feet, MSA. So we'll go 570, or that would be 200 feet radio, but we don't have radio. Go ahead and close that. We've got our minimums right there.
2.10, altimeter 30.19, ILS runway 32 in use.
Okay, 3019. All right, so we've got our proper pressure altitude. We are good. So we can already see the glide path diamond at the top. I'm going to verify I'm on the GPS. Autopilot is locked. We are on the VNAV. We're leveling off at 3,000. So at this point, I'm confident my approach is active because that's done in the GPS, which it's here. It's on the legs. We are active. Now I want to arm the approach mode because I can see that the glide path is there. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to arm the glide path. And again, VPath was still armed. I kind of feel like that shouldn't have gone away. It should have kept it there. But that's a question for working title, I guess. So we made the turn at Texan. You can see where the top of descent donut is on the marker. You can see the VNAV V coming down, and you can see the glide path ghost diamond slightly above it. And as we come to Vodal, we cross at 2,000 feet, we pick up the glide path, and away we go. Now we follow the glide path down to the runway. All right, guys. Well, I think that's about all. We don't really need to watch me land. So if you liked it, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. And come along next time. We'll probably throw together another 0.7.1 on doing an ILS. Because again, now that VNAV is working, we should really replace that other video which compensated for the VNAV thing. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.